All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Masin AI, Unlocking Intelligence, How Generative AI is Transforming Contract Administration and Dispute Resolution. I am Chandni Jetli, and I will be your host for this session. We're delighted to have you all for this session on AI is shaping the future of our industry. Over the next 45 to 60 minutes, we will explore how AI can really streamline workflows, reduce disputes, and create real value for construction and engineering industry. Before we begin, just a quick housekeeping notes. The session is being recorded. Please use the Q&A box for your questions so that we can take them up towards the end of the session. Perfect. Now, let me quickly introduce our panelists. We're fortunate to be joined today by an outstanding panel of experts, Mr. Lovekesh Jain. Lovekesh, AVP Commercial, ISGEC Heavy Industry Engineering Limited. Lovekesh holds LLM and MBA degree and specializes in the legal and commercial aspect of construction contract. With hands-on experience in over 500 national and international projects across government and private sector, he brings extensive expertise in contract, claims, compliance, and litigation, supported by a structure and strategy-driven approach. A published author of 3 books, Lovekesh is VPO certified and a member of Society of Construction Law UK. Beyond his professional pursuit, he is passionate about sustainability and actively support environmental initiatives. A warm welcome to you, Lovekesh.
Thank you, Chandni. Thank you for the kind introduction and also the opportunity to attend this webinar.
Thank you. Now, Lovekesh has been joined by our another panelist, Gunjan Chabra, who's a partner at MRP Advisory. Gunjan is a dual qualified legal professional, admitted as an advocate in India and as a solicitor of England and Wales. With several years of experience, she specializes in international construction arbitration, infrastructure dispute, and commercial litigation, with extensive experience representing client before courts and arbitral tribunal under ad hoc and institution rules, including ICC, SIAC, and DIAC. Gunjan is also empaneled as an arbitrator with several prestigious institutions such as Court of Arbitration of Art and ODR platforms, and also serves as an external member on POSH committees. Recognized as a future star in construction by Benchmark Litigation 2025 and recipient of the Pioneer Women Leadership Award. She's a frequent speaker at national and international forums and widely published author in leading arbitration journal. A warm welcome to you, Gunjan.
Thank you, Chandni. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. So before we begin our session, I also want to know about my audience. So there is a poll that I wish to start with so that I just know about my audience. Masin AI, can I request you to start the poll, please? And I would request my audience to please choose between the options which are going to be here. All right. So the poll question says, how familiar are you with the generative AI? Are you very familiar, somewhat aware, heard of it, not familiar at all? Beautiful. So people says that 23% of the people says that they are very familiar, 27 somewhat aware and heard of it, but not used it, and not familiar at all. Do not worry, this session is all about AI and our experts are going to help you out with that. With that, now that we know about our audience, why not to know about our speaker? Perfect. So Gunjan, this is for you. Now, being a lawyer's life is made of stories. Can you just take us through some professional journey about from the technology front?
Thank you, Chandni. Thank you for that question. So I think my professional journey is very similar to, what most of the lawyers would have gone through. So traditionally, when I started my practice, I'm a very traditional disputes lawyer. So completely physical paper filings, physical hearings, physical courts, physical tribunals. From there on, we saw at least the Delhi High Court started adopting e-courts system within their model. And, we started having e-filings and the courts started referring to documents on their screens. That's sort of the e-court system starting around there. Then around 16 to 18 was when our office started becoming an e-office. So, it started becoming more or less paperless, where we started storing everything on the cloud, and we started using iPads and laptops for even our hearings instead of the physical files, which, knowing the industry we're in, used to run into volumes. So instead of carrying bags and bags of documents, we slowly switched to iPads and laptops. Then, of course, 2020, the pandemic hit. So, that was a phase of me convincing my arbitration tribunals to sort of take their hearings online, convince them to do virtual hearings. A lot of domestic tribunals were not comfortable with it. And of course, we saw a rise in the e-filing facility by the High Court as well. Today, we are a completely e-filing facility if we talk about the Supreme Court or the High Court. And, later on, I also started getting empaneled as an arbitrator with various online dispute resolution mechanism. And today, they are also a pioneer, in using AI for not just case management platforms, but they're also using AI to match arbitrators to the particular cases. So I would say that from a user of technology, I have become an advocate of technology. And most recently, of course, our pilot project of adopting Masin AI. So yeah, that's a little bit about my technology journey.
Thank you so much for the insight, Gunjan. Lovekesh, over 27 years of experience from the industry. We hope you can take us a little back in your time and share some different experiences that you have in your journey.
Yeah, Chandni, you made me reminisce the area when I was thinking of pursuing career in computer application and was introduced to DOS, where I discovered that to write several lines of code just to get output of one line. So I understood that computer is not my cup of tea, and I decided to pursue career in law and management instead. Thanks to Bill Gates to bringing out GUI and making our life easier in form of MS Word. So why we will familiarizing ourselves with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all. So Google came in, then came ERP, then came my Internet of Things. So the journey of internet for me have been always mesmerizing to make our life easier. And then came AI. While all these development were to make the life of the people like me easier, AI was certainly a sci-fi coming into reality for me. And I feel that it is developing so fast from predictive AI to generative AI to agentic AI. And to me, it comes with wonder as well as wariness at the moment. There are so many things we should be wary about AI also.
Absolutely, absolutely. I second that, Lavkesh. With that, thank you so much, Gunjan and Lavkesh, for just giving an insight about your journey. And now that we know about our audience and we know about our speaker's journey, I think before we delve into a lot of question that I wanted to ask on behalf of the audience as well, and of course we will take up certain questions at the end from there and also. Before that, I feel that there is another thing that I wanted to check from my audience side. So before we move into the chain of series of question and understand the viewpoint from Lavkesh and Gunjan, Mason AI, can I request you to please start the second poll for my audience, please? All right. So the second poll says, where do you see the biggest impact of generative AI in construction industry? Is it automating repetitive tasks, contract drafting and review, risk analysis and compliance, or the customer client engagement? Wow. So the maximum people says automative repetitive task, contract drafting, risk analysis at 23%, and customer client engagement 9%. Perfect. With that, I think, Lavkesh, I would want to know, as you are specifically coming from construction industry. How do you think how much AI is useful, and any use case scenario that you can share with us, with our audience?
Well, Chandni, I think construction industry imbibes all the tasks you can think of in an industry, from marketing, tendering, finance, legal, project management, engineering, designs, everything. And if there are project managers from this industry, you will agree with me that the project management is all about looming deadlines and repetitive tasks. As your poll also showed that they want AI to help them in carrying out the repetitive tasks. They take whole lot of their time, and ultimately most of the projects end into the delays and the disputes. So what happens is, beside this, there is a big task of team management, heterogeneous teams. There are engineers, there are commercial people, there are legal people, there are marketing people. So it's tough task for the project managers to do that. And I think AI can come rescue to project managers in construction industry. While practical, coming to the practical use case, obviously for the routine tasks like correspondence and all, we all are using the non AI tools like GPT, Gemini, Copilot. And for specific like making the reports and all, we can use Grok, and making the presentation and all. There are several good tools like Napkin and all. And coming to the project management tools, there are good project management tool also. For example, to manage routine tasks, there is a tool called Asana. That's a very good tool. It can reduce your time spent on the routine task, routine project management task, and scheduling your activity. Asana can come to your rescue. And there is a tool called Trello. Trello is good tool for construction industry. While coming to the people management, team management, a tool Slack is a good tool. So while we coming that we know that contract is viable for the construction industry's project manager or the project team. So we need to have a good construction management, contract management tools, and dispute management come automatically in tandem with the contract management. Because while dealing in the contracts, writing contract letters, writing, getting into the communication, we should know what contract law or the judgments say about our stance, whether we are on the right track or not. There I find that Masin has come up with a very good tool of the contract management dispute resolution. And I find it very handy. It can give us the result in few seconds, and that are very accurate results. So all these tools can come, are quite useful in practical use case.
Thank you, Lovekesh. And absolutely said, Mason AI has come up with some interesting features and making the life very easy for all the construction and the engineering industry. With that, Gunjan, as Lovekesh said that, there have been a lot of tools which have been there in the market, and we've been using to ease the life of the people who are dealing into a day-to-day contract part of it. Which AI or the tool that you are using in your legal practice in your day-to-day life?
Thanks, Shani. Thank you so much for that question. So, actually, I am getting enlightened by Mr. Lovekesh, the amount of AI that he has been using in the construction industry. So, it's very interesting learning experience for me as well. But, I would say from a legal practice point of view, I am using a cocktail of AI. So, it's not one specific tool. For example, for your construction specific disputes, I would definitely say that Mason AI is an excellent platform because it's specifically trained on standard form contracts, say your FIDIC, your EPC. So the entire rainbow suite of contracts. So that's a very interesting feature, at least from my point of view, from Mason AI. Then, of course, for broader legal research and sort of intern level drafting, one could use Claude or ChatGPT. That's something that does come in handy. Of course, we are very careful of following strict confidentiality and validation protocols. Then coming to case law analysis, I'm still on Harvey as of now, but I'm hoping that we will slowly build that also within the Mason AI platform. So we are hoping to build more reliability on that as well. But Harvey is a more generally legal sort of a platform. But if we talk about construction related case law disputes, I would still go back to Mason AI. So that's one thing. So I feel from an AI perspective, from my point of view, my team builds sort of a workflow. So I would not say that it's an individual tool that they're relying on, but it's a workflow of AI tools which they've built over time. But more than the AI tool themselves, as Mr. Lovekesh also said, currently what is required is a review and verification of everything. So there's a strict protocol which all of us follow. Number one is, of course, you do an accuracy verification, because there are high levels of hallucinations and all of that with the use of AI at present. So there's an accuracy verification which is done. It's not automatically taken to be gospel truth just because AI has come up with it. Second is, of course, there's also something which Mr. Lovekesh mentioned, was that you do a legal reasoning review, right? So whatever results the AI is throwing up, see whether it is in line with the judgments, in line with the contract, in line with the law. That sort of review has to be there. And third, of course, there has to be a strategic alignment with the case theory. So just because AI has thrown it up, it may not be in line with your particular case theory, especially coming from a disputes lawyer who gets involved, even before the pre-dispute stage and the strategy stage. So I would say that those are the three kind of reviews that we obviously do. And goes without, confidentiality and data security remain paramount. So whatever AI we are using, that's sort of our primary concern all the time. Yeah. So that's a little bit about the tools that I regularly use.
Perfect. And as I've already said initially, Gunjan, to you, that lawyer's life is made of stories, right? Can you just pick up any example where AI has really made a difference in your professional life, or a situation where you can think that, okay, I was in a situation where really an AI has made a difference to that?
Chani, thank you again. Very interesting question. So very recently, in fact, we were involved in a freight corridor project, which was an ICC arbitration. And what happened was that as the arbitration proceeded and we heard from the respondent and everything on the case, the delay case became from a single point of delay to a delay of the entire project spanning about 5 years. And what happened was that we were thrown with about a document set of 50,000 documents, which had your MPRs and everything, expert reports, everything. And at that stage, what happened was we didn't know what to do, right? So we just threw everything to Masin AI, and it sort of analyzed the MPRs. And, there were these vague comments in various MPRs which said, awaiting final design approval sort of a thing, which was essentially related to the design and drawings of the project. And, there were not a lot of correspondence on it. We were not made aware of it because obviously the time filing is very brief. So what we noticed was that AI is actually very good at pattern recognition. So in this case, what happened was, after analyzing all of these MPRs, it came up, it came up and it threw up a result where it showed that there were various small scale delays caused because of the drawing. But if you looked at it from a 5-year project sort of a thing, there was a total delay of 300 days because of that. So, that's one use of AI that we've recently seen. And another way which, I was just speaking to another client of ours who's based out of the UAE, and what they shared was also very interesting because they had a delay case as well, which was related to the health safety regulation sort of a thing. And they had these access cards which were built into the helmets of the employees who were working on site. So the assertion of the opposite party was that the work had processed and progressed to building B. But when they threw all of that data, the camera data and the site data into the AI, what they realized was that at that particular month and that particular time, the workers were still complying with the HSE requirements of building A. So, that's where they analyzed that data to come up with that result, which would have possibly, missed the human eye. Both of these examples would have ideally missed the human eye. People don't go into these many details or keep reviewing textual connotations of various MPRs unless there is correspondence attached to it. But because of AI, these patterns were recognized and they were thrown up in the case. And, all said and done, of course, arguments remain ours, case strategy remain ours. But I would say that AI amplifies some of our capabilities, and that's where the real strength lies, definitely.
Absolutely. And I second that, Gunjan, because I remember I've been like sitting across a lot of customer of ours, and they say that when there is time of arbitration or litigation, when they're preparing, there is a lot that they had to study to read, and that's where I think tools like Masin AI helps, where they can actually catch the discrepancies also, which, as you say, that sometimes a human eye may miss out on that. So yes, thank you so much for that insight. And now that when we're talking about a lot of contracts, MPR files, right? How come we not talk about the dispute, right? So from you, Lovekesh, I wanted to know that what do you think from the AI perspective? Do you think that the AI can standardize the construction contracts and they can eliminate the ambiguity that often leads to the disputes in the construction side of it? So just wanted to know your thoughts around this.
Uh, Thank you, Chandni. In fact, this is at the base of the entire construction industry. First of all, we'll have to understand the anatomy of the construction contracts. In normal contracts, you have terms and conditions listed over. They may be 100, they may be thousands. But the anatomy of construction contract is quite unique. You have entire agreement, you have GCCs, you have standard condition, the special conditions of the contract, and then you have annexers, schedules, appendix, and so many so things. So you have thousands of contract pages of the contract for a particular project. And again, that is divided into technical project, technical contract, and commercial contract, right? So indeterminacies like ambiguity, vagueness, contradictions, that is bound to creep in. And perhaps, as you rightly said, this is the main cause of the disputes. Now, what happens is, to remove these ambiguities or indeterminacies, you have to read the entire contract, compare the condition in given in general condition of the contract and special condition of the contract, and also find out whether the same thing has been anywhere mentioned in the schedules or the annexers. So you have to make a comparative table. What happens is, when a contract is running into 10,000 pages, 15,000 pages, it becomes very difficult to manually do that. Although we try to do that, but again, many things are left over. So now, as I said, AI is doing wonders. It can do within minutes. So it can compare your SCCs, it can compare your GCCs, and it can compare one contract with other contract also. And again, as we are all aware that there are standard form of the contract in the construction industries, FIDIC most prevalent, and now NEC4 is coming, and then we have in Niti Aayog in India. So they have their different terms and conditions. So AI can help us compare those form of contract also, and help us to make a standard form of the contract, master contract, that have best of all the words. So of course, if we are able to remove these ambiguities and indeterminacies, dispute will automatically reduce. So I hope that the country like us, which is looming over 1 lakh crore rupees in the dispute in the construction industry itself, tomorrow AI will come to rescue and will save this money to be wasted in dispute and to invest into the making the nation.
Absolutely, Lovekesh. With that, I also want to know, when we talk about a lot about AIs and which are present in the in everywhere that people are using across globe, I would say. Gunjan, do you see somewhere that AI can primarily be called probably just a productivity tool or probably a decision maker tool, or do you think that it is both? And I wish to know from the dispute perspective, because as Lovekesh said, that there have been a lot of documents, numerous pages that we go through, the comparison happens, and it is manually, sometimes it's not possible. So from that angle, I wanted to understand, do you think that with the contracts that we are signing off, can it become a decision maker tool or just a productivity tool which can guide you from the dispute side of it?
Thanks, Chandni. Quite a controversial question, I would say. So the question, I think I'll deal with it in two parts. The first part is whether it's a productivity tool, right? Of course, it's a productivity tool, definitely. Like I said, AI does enhance our capacity as lawyers. So it will reduce my document review time, my data analysis time from several weeks to, say, a few days maybe. And this of course helps lawyers with developing strategy, with maybe taking the decisions which lawyers take. Okay. The second thing is, of course, large data analysis and pattern recognition, like I said. But another very, so while at least Masin AI does help with building our causation cases, and it can even spot inconsistencies in expert reports, which ideally we would have missed. But one very interesting use case for it to be a good productivity tool could be to use it in multi-party, multi-contract disputes, where there are dependencies between packages. So, for example, if your first work package is related to a foundation work, and the second is MEP work, and third is structural steel work, so on and so forth, to to sort of trace dependencies between three packages would become very time consuming and difficult for, say, a human being or a lawyer or an expert or some expert from Mason. But from AI, it's going to be very easy. So that's definitely one thing. It's for sure a productivity tool. It's a partner in that way. But if we talk about decision making, it's a strict no for me. Absolute strict no. There are already, in fact, there are already protocols which are in place. So if we talk about the CIR protocol or the Silicon Valley Arbitration and Mediation Center protocols on AI use in both for both lawyers as well as arbitrators, and there is the SEC protocol, and now we have more and more coming as time is passing by. You see that one of the key guideline which comes from these protocols is you never delegate the decision-making power to AI. Never, be it from a lawyer's perspective or from an arbitrator's perspective. In fact, over here, I want to add a very interesting case study which had come up recently. Everyone's talking about it, at least in the AI circle. And this is the La Palia versus Wolfcorp case. So, you know what? This was a case which was in under the AAA. So it was in US. And in fact, the closing submissions in the case were just handed over on 23rd of December. It was a 10-day arbitration hearing, which, if you look at it from an international arbitration perspective, is quite a bit of arbitration hearing. So very long case. And the arbitrator rendered his award on 7th of January. So your closing submissions are 23rd of December. You have your Christmas break, you have your New Year. 7th of January, the arbitrator already has his award in place. Now, what happens is the party suspects this is AI, can't be this fast. And they approached District Court of California to challenge this arbitral award on the ground that the arbitrator has delegated his decision-making power to AI. And how do they do that? Because you have to establish facts. So number one ground, they say, look, the arbitrator met us in our arbitration breaks. And he said that, look, I was actually supposed to also write an article for the Aviation Club, and I had used AI at that time. Second, he tells the parties, I'm really waiting for this arbitration proceeding to get over because I have a vacation planned to Galapagos. So I'm in a hurry to do that. Third, he says, what they do is that they analyze the award, and the award throws up these random facts which have never been pleaded, never been argued anywhere, so hallucinating. And fourth is the most interesting. They threw the award into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to tell us, do you think that this award is written by AI? And ChatGPT then becomes a witness and says that, yes, I do think that the award has been written by AI because there are certain patterns which are present and there are certain ways of speaking of awkward phrasing which does not look like it's human. So this is under challenge in the District Court of California right now. And I think this is what can happen if you give decision making to AI. Everyone is very, very careful of not doing that. And I think we need to continue doing that. So yeah, to answer your question, productivity tool, yes. Decision maker, no. Helps in decision making, yes.
Perfect. I think that's beautifully been articulated, Gunjan. And I think we have also gotten an view about how outside the country people are using it and how much we can use it. Or even if we are using it, we probably have to state that initially that this entire thing has been taken a help from AI. Perfect. Okay, so with that, Lovekesh, I want to know from your side because you coming from a construction side of the business, do you see that there is a potential for AI, a playing field for smaller contractors, or do you see that it only favors to the more resource-rich parties? What do you think about this?
Coming to the factual situation of the industry, Chandani, we see that litigation in the construction contract is prohibitively expensive field. So obviously, it becomes very difficult for the small contractor to afford the time and cost involved in a litigation. And moreover, they have to stay in the business. So many a time while signing the contract, out of the ignorance or knowingly, they have to take the risk. They have to sign many onerous clauses, right? Like they won't have any right to claim damages in case of the delays, even though they are attributed to the employers. In India, we see many such clauses, especially in public sector contract. They have to sign it. Now, what happens is for small contractor, it becomes difficult to afford a full-time in-house or external lawyers to vet their contract, to find out the risk, and even to manage the responses of the communication with the employers. In such circumstances, they have two options: either to succumb to the employer's demand or to dry up of funds in getting into the litigation. What I feel is AI certainly can give them a some level playing field by doing some things like giving them the risk analysis. At least they can have idea, like Gunjan just said, that it is a productivity tool, can help you in decision making, but not a decision maker too. So at least they will be having some idea that these are the risks involved in my contract. They can take up with their employers or the owners. And secondly, it can help them the drafting the right communication so that they can safeguard their interests in case ultimately there is a litigation. But again, the cost, the time, and the expense will not be bringing them at par at this moment. So, yes, some level playing field they will certainly be providing to the small contractor in this construction industry.
Perfect. So it can become a first step for them towards becoming
Exactly.
maybe a mid-sized contractor, wherein at least, as you rightly said, that I think it is going to definitely help in drafting the letters or the draft memo, which are already present. They can just use it and which can be sent it further. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Lovekesh. And I think before I delve into more into the sessions and the questions that I have prepared for my panel, I would definitely want my audience to again get onto their phones. And can I request the Mason AI to start our third poll just to capture the feedback from the audience side as well? All right. So it says, how soon do you think the generative AI will become mainstream in construction industry? Do you feel it's already there? It is going to take within 1 year, between 1 to 2 years, or maybe more than 2 years away? All right. So it says that it's going to be the high percentage says that within 1 to 2 years it's going to be in the mainstream. Sorry, more than 2 years it's going to be taking to come into the mainstream. All right. All right. With that, I think I want to know, Gunjan, from your side, do you think that the AI can help in ease and expedite the construction arbitration process, which means like from claim analysis to the award writing, like the way you have been discussing about the California case, right? How soon they have actually did all the arbitration arguments. But yes, do you think that it's going to be quicker or it'll be same as the way we are handling it so far?
So thanks, Shani. Thanks. Again, a very interesting question. Definitely, AI does come in handy through the entire life cycle of a dispute resolution process. So definitely claim preparation. I've already given multiple examples of how that can come in handy. Now, talking about during the proceedings of arbitration also, I mean, I have people from my team who have been using it even for building cross-examination questions after putting in all of those expert reports and everything, they do come up with brilliant cross-examination questions as well, which are then of course subject to the rigors of accuracy and legal reasoning and all of that, but it does definitely come up with that as well. It also throws up, as I mentioned, inconsistencies in methodologies, in what people have said over time in different reports, witnesses, and pleadings. So that's also something, pattern recognition and inconsistency drawing, which AI is very good at. Then I think the last part of your question was also from the award writing perspective. So of course, while you don't give it the decision making authority and you do all of these checks, which my team undertakes regularly, but all said and done, AI can help you in organizing all of the findings, factually. So the arbitrator can use it to sort of draft the procedural history of the matter for their award. They can also use it to ensure consistency in reasoning. So it doesn't happen, a lot of times, one of the main grounds of us challenging an award is inconsistency. At one place, the arbitrator will say something, suddenly the conclusion will say something completely diametrically opposite. To avoid that, also, an arbitrator can definitely use AI. So award writing, it does come in handy. Third thing, of course, the arbitrators can use it for citation checking and precedent checking, whether there's accuracy for that. So yes, definitely it's a good partner. Having said that, there are limitations during the entire process, which one does need to keep in mind. Again, at the cost of reputation, you don't give it the core judicial function. So when you're award writing or you're coming up with a case strategy, don't give the AI the end call. It's like a good beginning point for you, but don't give it the end authority of decision making. Then, of course, it can't make credibility determinations because these are very humanistic elements, which AI is not able to do, at least as of now. We don't know about 5 years down the lane, 10 years down the lane. We don't know what AI is capable of at that time. And so rigorous human verification is definitely required. That's one of the limitations. Secondly, of course, construction dispute resolution, construction management is not only about processing information faster, right? Which is sort of the main use case of AI that we've seen at present. Processing things, getting things done much faster for such a voluminous record of proceedings. The value also lies in the nuanced understanding of the various technical issues, which is where your experts come in. The nuanced understanding of the applicability of the law. Then you have the cultural context. You have the human dynamics of dispute resolution. When you're appearing before a tribunal, you need to look at what's going on to be able to pivot your strategy. AI is not going to be able to do that as of now. So there are limitations for sure to be using AI for those things. So, ultimately what's going to happen is one is going to stop thinking, look, I'm using AI, but it's going to become such a routine part of using things, like the internet or something, that you will say, you will just have smarter features and everything everywhere, but you will not say, oh, this is thanks to AI. You'll just stop realizing it eventually with time. That's what is going to happen eventually.
So basically, the AI can become your assistant, but however, you still feel that the human intervention is required.
Definitely, definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you for that. Lovekesh, as I've been seeing a large EPC project everywhere. What do you think? How do you see that AI is influencing when it comes to the risk allocation or probably the contract drafting when we talk about the EPC large project?
Yeah, Gunjan, as I initially said that the construction contracts run into thousands of the pages. So there are numerous risks. I think the riskiest contracts are the construction contract. So as far as, and again, when the tender comes, most of the contractors, they are struggling against the time to bid for the contract. They do not get time to read that, go through the entire contract. So they are not able to find out all the risk inherent in the contract. As Gunjan said, that with the help of AI, you can find out the risks from the contract. And then again, decision making lying with you, and you can take the call on those risks. at least it can help you find out certain risk or certain risky clauses that might have skipped your attention. So obviously from that stage, that is the first stage, while bidding, you can take appropriate deviations. And in case at least you do not take deviations, you can take calculated risk. You can build up in your costing for those risks. So that is while bidding of the contracts. Now it comes to the execution of the construction contracts. And the beauty of the construction contracts are not only the inherent risks that we are handed over by the marketing department while taking the contract and agreeing to the contract, the risks keep building on during the execution also. So that is also important, because every document you sign, every document you create during the execution of the contract become part of your contract. And if these documents are also carrying some risk, that can only be detected through AI. I would say only be detected through AI, because many a time you lose track of those documents. And one of the most important backbone of winning a litigation is your documentation. And when a contract runs into years and years of execution, it becomes very difficult to retrieve the old documents. So there, I think AI can help you to find out the documents which has gone in your favor, which has gone against you, so that you can take informed decisions. So as your audience said, that AI can be used for taking care of routine tasks, I would beg to different here. In fact, have a different opinion here. In my opinion, the biggest use of AI in construction contract is managing the risks.
All right. All right, Avkesh. So it's basically that, as you said, that it is important when we are doing any construction project. It is important to have all the correspond, and I second that with you, because when we are in the project, whether that is for 12 months or for 36 months, it is very relevant that at what point in stage that we have signed what documents, whether there is a variation which has happened, and that really plays an important role there. But I think at the same time, I feel that if you have a trusted software, and especially as we're talking about a Masin AI and the AI right now, I think there's a space, which is being given to the customer who's using a SaaS software or a on-prem software, right? Where you can actually ensures that all the correspondence are just being fed in one go, so that, everything is intact together. And whenever you need it, I think it is easily available to respond to, or to maybe just have a look at it, or we want to just go back and see any sort of a clauses and the variation that we have signed off. But yes, I agree with you on a larger piece that there are correspondence which are needed, and I think we support you with this, with the Mason AI, ensuring that we have a larger space available, wherein you can either use on-prem or you can use the SaaS or the SSO model, which ensures that you have a large space to enter any sort of a correspondence, whether that's 10,000, 20,000, or n number MPR files also. So yeah, with that, I think on the same grounds, Gunjan, I wanted to know, though you have already answered that, there's one of the California case which has been challenged already. But I want to know that, do you think that still the tribunal and the courts needs a new legal framework when it comes to the AI evidences, or do you think it is not possible in the near future?
Okay. Thanks, Shani. Again, excellent question. So I would say currently what the arbitrators and courts are doing is not absolutely rejecting AI-based evidence, because now we're talking specifically about the evidence, right? I think they're taking a cautious but pragmatic approach to AI, so they're not rejecting it outright. But what I would say is what they are doing is that they are making disclosure requirements. So whenever a party is using AI, there are now procedural orders which specify that please disclose what AI you've used, what is the use case. Either parties agree with what is the level of disclosure required for use of AI, where are you using it, number one. Number two, you have to have reliability and explainability. Okay, so there's the black box problem with AI, that it's never able to explain how it's come up with the solutions, the output, right? So you need to find out how to do that. That's the sort of gray area which is still there. Then, of course, human oversight is very important. You need to still take complete responsibility of any results which you're using from the AI as well. So, definitely a pragmatic approach is what is being taken. And of course, you have these judgments like Marta, Bianca, and Georgia, where the AI hallucinated these precedents and, they were never seen by the lawyers, which results in immediate dismissal of the case. So, that's where the sort of cautious approach against AI comes from. But, I think today what we require is definitely framework, but not a framework which is, maximum disclosure, sort of putting a lot of burden on the parties, but a minimum disclosure framework at least, which doesn't stifle innovation. It enables parties to still be able to use AI. It doesn't put a lot of obligations on them to disclose everything, to verify everything, and it should definitely be auditable. That's one thing. So, to conclude this answer, I think what is required today from a statutory point of view is to look at the soft law which has come over all over the world, which is your guidelines, which I've already mentioned, CIR, SVMC, SCC, several other IBA guidelines. Look at those and you come up with a culture of responsible adoption. So I think the adopters of AI, along with the vendors of AI, are both responsible for the public acceptability and acceptability by the judiciary, the tribunals, the courts. So that's what the conclusion of the answer is: responsible adoption.
Sure. So overall, if I've understood, and from the audience perspective also, so we really don't need a new legal framework for the entire thing, but tweaks and some new guidelines are required for the AI, right, Kunjit?
Yes, correct.
Oh, perfect. All right. With this, I think I would give it a minute to start our last poll for our audience. And I can see that, there have been a multiple question which has been posted by the audience. Please allow me some time and I will definitely take this up with our speakers and will request them to address these questions. But before that, Masin AI, can I just request you to please start the last poll of the session? All right. So, yeah. What is the top concern about adopting and generative AI? Is that the data security and the confidentiality, accuracy and the reliability, ethical and legal implication, or is it because of the cost and the ROI? All right. So our audience says, and we have a tie, which is data security and confidentiality and accuracy and reliability. All right. So with that, I think let me just pick up from here with our speakers. So, Lovekesh, if I start with you, like the way audience said that about the data confidentiality and the accuracy part of it. Do you think that from the construction industry perspective, what are the barriers or the challenges do you see that we face? Is it something because of the technology part of it? Is it because of the cost perspective, or is it just the cultural resistance that we face?
Chandni, here I would prefer to go with the audience poll. Certainly, data security is the most important, and this is the reason that in my industry, in my company also, I am not giving any of my company's contract or the correspondence to the uh, general GPT tools or AI tools, just because of security. And we are looking for some good enterprise tool that can ensure us the data security and the safety of confidentiality of our contracts and other information. Of course, that come on the top priority. Again, as the audience has said, that accountability is also important. Yes, this is very important. And that's why Gunjan said that we have to have the manual intervention or human intervention along with AI. For example, I have given a contract to AI. Right now, as we all know, that AI model works on training. So it is training itself. So we have to give it the inputs and training. So right now it gives me analysis of the contracts. So I cannot 100% rely on the AI's input or output. So I have to go through the entire contract myself. And the audience has not given the cost. So here I come on the cost also, because for some time, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, I'll have to double up my hard work. I'll have to get the data from AI, then check it, then manually read the entire contract, and then compare it where the gaps are. So cost is also important, because right now we do not have an integrated tool which can be used for the entire construction contract management. As I initially said, that for schedule management you have to use Asana. For team management you can use Slack. For correspondence and all you can use these GPT, Gemini, and as Gunjan said, for legal management you can have Claude or other legal software. Fourth challenge I face is that as of now, what happens is there are many Me Too service providers as far as AI tools are concerned. So they prepare any of the tool and try to sell it to every fit it in every industry. For example, I have seen many service provider or many tool makers who are trying to sell the transportation industry tool made for transportation industry to the construction industry. It is very important the people who have experience, hand-on experience of that particular industry. For example, construction industry like Masin has extensive experience of 15 years. So if they come with the making of these tools, so that can be very useful. Otherwise, we'll just ending up training the tool itself, and by the time we get ROI from them, it will be too late. We'll be losing lot of money. So cost is also deterrent. And last but not the least, legality involved, as Gunjan talked about hallucination. Although they say then in 2025, this AI does not hallucinate. However, deepfake is still there. Like it may be a problem for lawyers like Gunjan to deal with the evidence, to find out the difference and the evidence created by AI and the actual evidence may be very difficult. So there are several difficulties, and that's why in the beginning I said that AI has come along with wonder and wariness both. So these are our concern. So we are contemplating on a such good enterprise tool that can ensure all these factors to us, and after that only it will be we'll be able to implement the tool in our organizations.
Sure. I think, Lovekesh, I do have a solution for this, but I'll just park my input for that. Before that, I want to bring in Gunjan for this. Gunjan, what do you think security and confidentiality are the main concerns right now? How do you see that from a construction dispute perspective, how it can be addressed through AI?
Thanks, Chandni. I think the moment I saw the poll question, I had a smile on my face because this has always been my primary concern, which I have troubled Mason AI with from day one. So, Chani, from our perspective, lawyers are anyway bound so strongly by privilege and confidentiality. And this becomes all the more important in our industry, in the construction and infra industry, especially because in international arbitration, we are dealing with extremely commercially sensitive information. We are dealing with a lot of state entities. We're dealing with extremely heavy infrastructure projects. And I feel like from a data confidentiality point of view, data sovereignty is my starting point. Okay, so of course, with AI that I'm open source using, your chat GPT, your Claude or whatever, they're mostly open source. I'm making sure there's an anonymization happening. So none of the, confidential data goes into that. None of it is shared with that, which also Mr. Lovekesh also shared some of that, we make sure that none of that goes there. Second is, if I were to, use Mason AI, which, we had operated it on a pilot basis, this was one of my first questions which I had put to Mason AI also before even putting it as a pilot operation, that look, I need enterprise grade security. Enterprise grade security is absolutely non-negotiable for me. So I need to be sure there is double factor authentication, there is encryption of data, all of that happening. Secondly, there has to be an on-premise deployment. So my servers are what is being used for the data. AI should be running on our servers. We as lawyers control who has access to that data. It's not the vendor of the AI who has access to that. Third is, of course, there have to be zero knowledge architectures. Okay, so it shouldn't be a scenario where the provider of AI can access our data, and then start learning from it. That should be within my control. So it should not be as if it's sharing data with the LLMs, the large language models that you're using within your baseline. So please make sure of that. And with construction disputes, especially like I said, it's state entities. So you need to be very, very sure that you're doing all of that. And of course, from a practical standpoint, then you come up with these confidentiality agreement with these vendors of the AI, right? And they have to mirror our client obligations. So there have to be restriction on using of client data for model training, and there has to be clear data deletion protocols as well. When do you get rid of that data? That also has to come as a part of your confidentiality agreement. So, Mason AI actually gave me a lot of comfort about the data security and confidentiality aspects of all of that, because that's my primary concern always. And of course, internally in our workflows, we ensure that, none of these sensitive terms, commercial terms, technical substance which you require for analysis is not shared with the open source AI. So yes, that's definitely something that we do.
Perfect. And I think I definitely understand because, being into from the IT space of the world, and I think data security is the foremost thing. And I think with this, Mason AI ensures, Gunjan, as you're already using it, you're already aware that, we do have a facility when it comes to on-prem, because we want our customers should be satisfied, and the data and the way that they wish to use our AI software, they're flexible to use it. And of course, with that, we have captured a lot of feedback, and with that, of course, we have embedded all the enterprise grade security, ensuring that the data is not being exposed to the public internet, because I think that that's the major concern that we generally faces. But yes, thankfully, Mason AI is here, and we have all these details which are already there in the Mason AI. Thank you so much, Gunjan, for that. But with that, I think it just popped up to my head, and I think Lovekesh, Gunjan, whosoever feel to answer this question, do you believe that generative AI will eventually be embedded in any of the enterprise tool, making it invisible, just like maybe an electricity and an internet today? I mean, I'm sure that it would be, but I really want to hear from your side. What are your outlook towards this? Lovekesh,
Ah,
yeah.
yes. To me, no doubt about it. If you have to compete in the industry, you have to go for it. Because others are using, they will be much ahead of you. So it's already in our lives. We have been using these navigations app, we have been using Spotify, we have been using AI in many forms. In organizations also, your face recognition software for attendance and all. Everything is there. SAP, ERP, everything is there. So AI has to be there. It's just a matter of time. How much time it takes, then sooner the better.
Absolutely. I think when we started our session, it was all about the AI tools everywhere. So I was also in favor of that it's going to be a AI era soon. Gunjan, what do you think? Will it be embedded just like Lovekesh said that soon it is going to be? What is your outlook towards this?
I completely agree with that. Today, think of it from this point of view, is what I would like to say. Today, when you come up with a new mobile phone, nobody is thinking, oh, I need to learn this new mobile phone. It just automatically happens. We keep buying new technology, new phones, and we don't even think twice about what's the software going on in there. We just get convenience at the tip of our fingers. And I feel that that's what's going to happen to AI as well. Every few days, we'll have an update of AI, and nobody is going to even realize it. That's how embedded within our lives it will become, and how necessary it will be for us to incorporate AI. And I don't think we can, do without it. I don't think it's an option anymore. All of us need to learn AI even to be able to challenge AI. So that's where we are. Responsible adoption is my answer, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely, Gunjan. Thank you so much for that. Now, as we move towards the end of our session, and we'll soon be picking up the question from the audience side, what is that one piece of advice that you wish to give to the professional who are driving their future towards the AI side of it? Is there any piece of advice Lovekesh, you wish to give to the professionals?
In fact, we are thankful to have an audience that is quite aware enough. So I'll not give a piece of advice. I'll just share what I have been doing with learning AI. So first of all, we need to learn basics. For that matter, we can read books and we can take certain courses that are available for free at the internet. And thereafter, we have to do practical use of it. As Gunjan said, when you take the mobile, you just start using it and you learn while using it. So as I said that I have been using many tools just to test them, what tool can do what. And third one, of course, we to be very relevant in the industry and to excel in our professional careers, we should go for the advanced level of certifications in AI.
Sure, Lovekesh. Thank you for that. Gunjan, do you want to quickly add any advice that you wish to share?
Yes, I think most of it Mr. Lovekesh has already shared, but just to add a couple of points to that. So my advice would be to stop ignoring AI now. I think that era is gone. We need to start being very aware that it is unavoidable at this stage. So all of us need to be at par with what AI is doing so that it becomes a partner to us and not something that can, replace jobs, which is the biggest fear of everyone. And second would be, of course, I think I've said this multiple times now, responsible adoption. So start using AI, but with responsibility. That's my only 2 cents I would like to add there.
Thank you so much, Gunjan. And I think thank you so much, Lovekesh and Gunjan, for the fantastic discussion. With the interest of time, I think I will just take 1 minute to summarize the entire conversation around what is the main highlighted points that we discussed. Probably we just talked about the security and the data is a main concern that we foresee. And we see that everything is going to be sooner be transforming towards the AI era in the near future. So I would just say that the Masin AI is here, which ensures and take care of all the concerns that you have, whether that is about the on-prem, the security and the data perspective, the confidentiality of the data, and ensuring it is in enterprise grade security is also there, and is going to actually help you in improving on to saving a lot of cost, improving the efficiency, and also in the improvement in the dispute rate and settlement, because it's a one-stop solution which gives you all the insight in that. And I would suggest our audience and the panelists, of course our panelist is already using it, however I would suggest my audience to please give it a try and see the impact that how it helps you out. With that, I think I will just pick up a couple of questions from the Q&A side of it. So all right. So Abhishek has asked a question. Lovekesh and Gunjan, whosoever you feel, please answer this question. Could you please present how AI is driving efficiency in contract review, compliance, and risk management? Would appreciate to hear about the tools, methods, or approaching being used, maybe in the real example. I think I will give it a pass because Abhishek, this has already been talked about. I'm really sorry. I think we have already discussed a lot on this particular
Uh,
thing.
Chandni, I think now you should schedule a demo with Abhishek for your
Oh,
Masin
sure.
AI.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to do that. Thank you, Lavkesh. Abhishek, I'm definitely going to touch base you after this. All right. The another question that I have from Chintan, how can entire contract life management cycle, starting from bidding stage till completion of the project, including dispute and litigation, be integrated with the AI? Lavkesh, do you want to answer this question for the audience?
Yeah, in fact, as of now, this is a concern, Chandni. As I said, that I have been using various tools for task management, team management. So someday, of course, like Masin AI has come, it has integrated two most important things, that is contract management and dispute resolution. So similarly, I would like that because this is the era of API where you can collaborate with other tools also. If it can be expanded to the task management and this team management, so I think from the very beginning to the end, that is from bidding stage to dispute litigation, it can be imbibed in one tool. It is not very far away. It's not very difficult.
I also second that, Lavkesh. All right. Gunjan, probably this you can address. The question is, can AI help in making technical pre-bid queries by interlinking different RFP documents?
I think definitely it should be doable. And, pre-bid queries is again, I think, question better suited to Mr. Lovekesh. But I don't think there should be a problem with doing that. Definitely, it should be able to come up with pre-bid queries. But at the same time, pre-bid queries are also related to the practical difficulties on site, with the view of which those are sought. So maybe AI can somewhat help with that, but human review is definitely going to be required even from that angle.
All right. Thank you, Gunjan, so much. And I think I'll just take the last question. And I think that's I think everybody wants to know which. So the question is, and of course it is anonymous. The person has not mentioned the name. So it's, if AI is trained as an expert contracts manager, will it replace humans, and will AI be blamed for job cuts? Lovekesh, do you want to start?
Uh, Chandni, I would not say no to this. In fact, I'm not an expert, but if I read the quotes of the expert like Stephen Hawking, and uh, so they say that AI have the potential to eradicate the human race. They have gone to that extent because the biological development will never be able to meet the AI development. And if you remember, a few days ago, even Satya Nadella, he has given a statement that I am afraid of the company losing to AI. So if the company like Microsoft is afraid of losing to I would not say that job cuts would not be there. But of course, that we have been discussing in the entire webinar that human intervention is sine qua non in using AI in the construction contract management. So the job cut will be of the people who are complacent, who are not going to use, who are still depending upon the manual work by the people who have advanced themselves in AI, and they have come to attain the good effectiveness and efficiency in their work.
Sure, agreed with you. And I think Gunjan also stated in the last answer that everyone should start using AI because it's going to be soon an AI era. Gunjan, do you have a different perspective altogether to what Lovekesh has answered for this?
I think he's just accurately captured what it is. If you stop evolving, it's eventually going to happen to all of us. We're going to lose our jobs to whatever the latest technology is. Why restrict ourselves just to AI? So we need to evolve, definitely. For example, even when computers would have come in, those of us who were resistant to change would have lost our jobs at that point in time. So, I think you definitely need to evolve, and we all need to start using AI. That's the answer.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, Lavkesh. As we come to the end of today's session, I'd really like to sincerely thank our panelists, Lavkesh and Gunjan, for sharing their insights and their experiences. And a big, big thank you as well to our audience for joining us today, asking thoughtful questions and engaging with us, giving the answers to the polls. Thank you so much. We hope this session gave you a valuable takeaway that how AI is transforming, helping in the contract and the dispute side of the business. And on behalf of the entire Masin AI, I thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in another webinar. Have a good day ahead. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.